Hey, what's up guys? Hope you all are doing awesome today. My name is Frank Mularcik, and today I'm going to be talking about how your returns might differ if you invest in monthly dividend paying stocks or quarterly dividend paying stocks. So over the past few months, I've had a lot of discussion with some different investors of all ages about the value of monthly paying dividend stocks over quarterly paying stocks. And in the YouTube community, it seems to me that a lot of people are of the opinion that monthly paying stocks are superior to quarterly paying stocks, and there's a lot of videos about like the 5 best monthly paying stocks and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just trying to see how much of a difference it's going to make, and from my intuition, I guess, it doesn't seem to me that it's going to make that much of a difference. And some of the people I've been talking to also have that sort of opinion, so I'm going to be exploring that today. So it's definitely clear that a monthly paying stock will definitely compound faster than a quarterly paying stock. So just for a quick example, if you have a stock that pays $300 in dividends every quarter, and let's just say it sits at $100 for the entire quarter, well, in the case of the paying quarterly, you would be able to buy 3 more shares with that dividend payment. But if it paid monthly and that $300 was spread out evenly between the months, well, you'd get $100 the first month and you'd buy 1 share, but then the next month you'd have a little bit more shares, so you'd get a little bit more than $100, and then you'd be able to buy a little bit more than 1 share, and then the same thing would happen that third month. So clearly there's definitely an advantage for monthly paying stocks when it comes to compounding, but I'm just really not sure how much that is, and my feeling is that it's not going to be that much of a difference. So we're going to be taking a look at some historic examples of different companies and sort of charting out what ifs if they paid monthly or quarterly, and sort of compare that to their actual performance. So basically what I did is I made a spreadsheet, and so I'm going to be comparing 4 different companies, or not really companies, one of them is an ETF as well. So I'm going to be comparing Realty Income, O, which pays monthly, and then the quarterly ones are going to be J&J, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, and then VTI, which is a total stock market ETF. So we wanted to throw that ETF in there as well, just to make sure we got diversification from the whole market. So basically I had to make 2 spreadsheets because I have a lot of Google Finance calls, and you can only have up to 1,000 in a spreadsheet, and I have more than 500 in each spreadsheet, so I couldn't make them into one spreadsheet. So basically what we're looking at here is this is the page where I imported all the dividends. So I wrote a Python script, and I used the get_dividends function, and then I was able to bring in all the dates that they paid on and then what the dividend amounts. So for Realty Income, they paid every month, and then when I imported the J&J dividends, I sort of spaced it out so it showed up only once a quarter, and so that they were kind of evenly spaced in accordance with the Realty Income dividends as well. And then I put here how many years of increasing dividends they have. So O has 25 and J&J has 57, so that is just kind of something that might affect this, I guess. So that's just something to take in consideration. But the thing is I'm not going to be comparing each stock to another stock. I'm going to be comparing the stock to itself. So I'm basically going to run a calculation for how it performed when it pays monthly, and then I'm going to calculate what the dividends would look like if it paid quarterly, and then I'm going to compare those, and likewise do the opposite for the companies that pay quarterly. So basically over here on the right side, what I did over here is I adjusted it so that it would pay once. So for Realty Income, I just made it so it would pay once at the beginning of the quarter, and I summed up the 3 dividends from those 3 months, the dividend amounts that is. So this is basically simulating if they paid quarterly. And then I did a similar thing for the J&J dividends. I split the dividend in 3 and then split it out over the 3 months. And obviously the dates aren't going to be perfect, but I just made the dates about 1 month apart from the actual pay date, so that could cause some error, but over the long run, I think it should be all evened out by the law of large numbers, so that shouldn't have too much an effect. And then basically what I did is I went in here and I did some calculations. So I brought in all the dates that they paid, and then I brought in the prices on those dates. And so if we started with $10,000, here's the starting price at the beginning of 2000, and then so this would be the starting number of shares right here, and then this is just the starting number of shares at that pay period, and then I listed out the dividend paid, which is just the number of shares times the dividend amount from the other sheet, and then the shares dripped is just the dividend paid divided by the price, and then the new number of shares is just the starting number of shares plus the shares dripped, and then I list out the ending market value on that day. So basically, and then the starting number of shares here from these other rows are just the new number of shares from the previous month. So that's how I did that. And so basically I calculated out the performance from 2000 all the way till today basically. So the dividends that I imported, they only went up to like maybe May. Okay, so for Realty Income they went up to July 31st, so that's the furthest I could go. But for some of the other companies they only went up to May or June. So that's all I could do. So you could see the current value would be around 280,000, which is a 2,800% gain. So then if we go over here to the right side, I did a similar thing for if they paid quarterly. So I brought in the date and then the price on that date, the number of shares at the beginning, the dividend paid, which is just the dividend had they paid quarterly times the number of shares, the shares dripped, the new number of shares and market value, etc. And pretty much the same process as before. And then so you can see here their ending current value would be $279,000, which is a 2794% gain. And so that is less than $1,000 difference, I think. Yeah, it's only about $500 or $600 difference over 20 years. So that's like, in my opinion, that kind of shows that it's not that big of a difference at all, because that's 20 years of time and you invested $10,000 and you barely had 6% difference, which is like $600. So that's the Realty Income one. And then for J&J, I pretty much did a similar thing, but I started out with the quarterly payments over here, and then I sort of transformed into the hypothetical monthly payments. And then I basically did the same thing for Microsoft and VTI. And there's not much to see here. It's pretty much the same thing. I've just calculated it out. And so you can see those here. And then if we go back, I made like a summary sheet so we can see everything that happened. So for Realty Income, if you compounded monthly like they do, you'd have 280,000. And if you compounded quarterly, you'd have 279,400. So you would only have $670 more if you compounded monthly, which is 6.71% better on your initial investment. And comparing the monthly value to the quarterly value, it's only 0.24% better. So those are just two different ways to look at it. So the 6.71%, that's the percentage better from your initial investment, and then this 0.2401% is the percentage better compared to when they paid quarterly. So similar results for J&J, Microsoft, and VTI. They all had a pretty small margin. And also to note, like for Microsoft and VTI, for VTI I started in somewhere in 2001, which is when the fund started, and then for Microsoft I started in 2005, because for some reason that's the earliest that the Python library had dividend data. But that doesn't really matter because I'm just comparing it to each other. I'm comparing the stock when it paid quarterly to the stock if it paid monthly. So I'm not comparing Microsoft and J&J's performance because obviously those stocks had different performances. So overall, they're all within about 0.5%. So you'd only do about 0.5% better from your initial investment, or 0.5% better paying monthly versus quarterly, and only about 3% better on your initial investment. And in Realty Incomes, it was close to 7%, but these others are around 3%. So my conclusion from this is that it's really not that much of a difference. Obviously, there is a difference, but it's not important enough that you should seek out monthly paying stocks. You should seek out high quality stocks that are going to continue paying dividends over a long period of time, and that are going to continue increasing those dividends over a long period of time. And then if those happen to pay monthly, well, that's great, and maybe you'll get a little bit extra compounding, but in the long run, if you're really looking to be a long-term investor, $600 over 20 years is really not going to matter to you at all. So I really just want to encourage everyone to not worry about whether it pays monthly or quarterly, because I feel like a lot of investors, especially newer investors, I was definitely part of that as well, get caught up in this, oh, we just got to get paid more often and that's always better. And yeah, technically it is, but that should be an added benefit, not a prerequisite for choosing what stocks and companies to invest in. So I just want to make it clear that just pick high quality companies and you'll do good over the long term, no matter if they pay you monthly or quarterly. So since we've been talking about compounding so much, the quote is going to be, "Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world," and that was allegedly said by Einstein, Albert Einstein that is. And it's interesting that he was a mathematician. He wasn't really known to be into investing at all, but it's cool that he talked about that. I mean, there's a lot of compounding stuff in math that isn't associated with investing, but it's just a really cool thing to think about, and just really shows you the power of compound interest. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you learned that monthly paying stocks they're great and everything, but it's really not something you should seek out. You should rather pick quality companies, and then if they happen to pay monthly, then you'll be a bit better off. So just please keep that in mind. I just think a lot of newer investors fall into this sort of trap. So I just want to put that out there. And thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.